Welcome to the Principle of Oppositional Movement with Olena Nitrafor.
And David Zemak-Burson.
The inspiration came from two lessons in Alexandria Nye, which Moshe titles as the Principle of Oppositional Movement. I believe it's 333 and 334. I've had a profoundly personal relationship to the basics of what Moshe is talking about in these lessons, the principles that he's trying to explicate, because in the very beginning, when I encountered Dr. Feldenkrais, which was 1973, or maybe the end of 72, the only thing I had really was the book Awareness Through Movement until the spring of 73. And the third lesson or chapter 3, or lesson 3 it's called, but in the book, is a lesson called The Fundamental Properties of Movement. Right? And that still today, 46 years later, is still my go-to lesson. If I'm in trouble in some way, if I have an injury, if, I wake up with some kind of kink, I do that lesson, which of course I've done hundreds of times, or I do the first half of it, and I'm good to go. That lesson is actually what he is discussing and is the context for this whole two-lesson lecture on, or it's a lecture embedded with parts of fundamental properties of movement. But that lesson is his starting point for kind of the paragon example of the principle of oppositional movement, which of course, as it says, is, if something is going in one direction, then another part of myself has to be going in the opposite direction. Now, that's how Moshe states it. I would argue that a more comprehensive understanding is part of me has to go in the opposite direction if I'm going to stay in balance.
Something goes back, something goes forward, and he emphasizes that it's not something that we do. It is an innate response. Right?
Ought to be.
Ought to be, yes. Well, it is in children, right? And that, in fact, he said, you can actually, if you do it, you've missed it. That's not it. Right? So I think that's something that really, really, really interests me. And because I think that, if it has been and is for children an innate response, then really it's through learning that we have all limited that. What state do we need to be in? What state do we need to bring ourselves into that reaction would happen? Right? That we are already in such a state of organization that what would spontaneously occur can have the space to spontaneously occur. So we'll see how the ATMs that we do and the FI work that we do actually highlight or expand that domain within action.